Hey guys, it is Wednesday. I always close my eyes to think. It's Wednesday, and it's time for our story about Runaway Ralph. Remember that yesterday his parent or his uncle and his mom had said that he has to ride the little brothers and sisters and cousins all around, and he was so upset about that because it was a real motorcycle in his mind. So he's finishing that up today. Up and down the hall plodded Ralph with brothers, sisters, and cousins. He grew more and more rebellious as the stars outside the hotel grew dim above the pine tree. Rebellious is a pretty cool word. It means kind of not wanting to follow the rules and not wanting to do the things he was supposed to, so he's getting madder because it was nighttime. The motorcycle was his. It was given to him by a boy to ride, not to use as a kiddie car for a lot of wiggly, squirmy little mice. A motorcycle was not a toy. Let's see, I lost place. Why couldn't his mother and Uncle Lester understand that? Because they were too old to understand. That's why, too old and too timid. Ralph felt sorry for himself, caught as he was between two generations of mice. Most of his own litter had died from eating poisoned grain that was put out by a most disagreeable cook in the kitchen. There was an older generation of mice who worried about safety and being able to scrounge enough crumbs to tide over to the summer season and the ski season. And then there was a generation is an age group of people, a generation of silly little mice who were always wiggling and climbing all over one another and gobbling up crumbs just as fast as they could get them before they were even brought to the mouse nest. Nobody understood Ralph, which was his whole trouble. Night was fading, and the chirp of a bird out in the pines told Ralph that the hotel was about to come to life. The night clerk soon would awaken and close his book, and the cook would soon start rattling pots and pans in the kitchen. A cousin, braver than most, came running down the hall where Ralph was wearily pushing the motorcycle. "You're not fair," he scolded. "You've given him 3 rides, some of the others got 2, and I only got 1. Ralph stopped in his tracks. "Do you mean to tell me that you have had more than 1 ride?" he said to the others. "Yes," was the answer, "and I'm going to tell Uncle Lester on you, then you'll really catch it." Ralph was too angry to speak. He snatched his helmet from the head of the passenger, tipped him off into the floor, and mounted his motorcycle while taking a breath. Ralph shot down the hall and into the lobby. The first pales of morning sun filtered through the pines, which now were filled with joyously chirping birds. The night clerk stirred. All the little mice looked frightened and scuttled towards the stairs, the safety of the nest of shredded Kleenex. The night clerk sat up, yawned, and stretched and scratched his chest, giving Ralph just enough time to garage his motorcycle in the dark corner under the TV set before the last shadow of the night faded from the old hotel. Ready to rest and filled with bitter thoughts, Ralph set his crash helmet down on the dusty carpet and sat down with his back resting against the front wheel of the motorcycle. Those grown-up mice should not make him use his beautiful motorcycle as a toy to amuse a lot of squirmy, ungrateful little relatives who were growing up soon and would soon insist on riding by themselves. And Uncle Lester would insist that Ralph let them. Well, maybe he wouldn't. Never again would he use his motorcycle as a toy. He didn't care what Uncle Lester or anybody else said. Ralph did not want to grow up to be a crumb-scrounging mouse like Uncle Lester. He did not want to settle down in a nest of shredded Kleenex behind the baseboard of a linen room. He wanted a life of speed and danger and excitement. He wanted to be free to do as he pleased and go on his shiny red motorcycle. The clock struck 6, and in the distance, Ralph heard the notes that seemed to summon the excitement and adventure. And now he knew where the notes came from the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Before the notes had died away, Ralph heard the laughter and shouts of medium-sized boys and girls who must be about the same age as Keith, the boy who had understood mice and had given him his motorcycle. The rousing notes of the bugle and the laughter and shouting increased the feeling of rebellion within Ralph. As the last strains of the bugle call hovered in the mountain sky, Ralph made up his mind. He knew what he was going to do. He was going to run away. That's what the book is called. Remember, it's Runaway Ralph. The next chapter is called The Open Road. So I bet next, when we read tomorrow, he's going to scoot right out there on that motorcycle out into the open road. So I hope you had a great day. Got lots of your NTI work done. I've seen lots of the stuff that you're doing online. And I'm proud of those of you who are really working hard. So have a good evening, and I'll see you at morning meeting in the morning. And maybe my hair will look better then.